All right, we are live. Okay, I'm Angelo Batio, just waiting for people to show up here. Okay, everybody's starting. And then just wait a little bit. I'm using my ES Hybrid guitar. This guitar is absolutely amazing. Okay, hey Cynthia, how are you? Roxana, hello, how are you? Let's see. Hey Tanya, how are you? Hi Andy. Let's see. Alexis, hello. Yeah, Cynthia, hello. Hey Denny, how are you? It's great to see you again. Olaf, that's a new name. Hey, how are you? Okay, we've got some numbers here. Hey Phil, there's a lot of other people. Okay. Anyway, I just want to play a little bit. I am using my hybrid guitar. These guitars are absolutely incredible. This is called the ES series, and they're doing a flash sale. There's 25% off. The thing about this guitar is it's two guitars in one, literally. We didn't try to do all things for all people. But for example, you can use it like a regular guitar like this. Watch. On the neck position, I have the single coil Strat sound, and on the bridge position, I've got the humbucker. And what I can do is I can use this top part to switch between the two configurations. Watch. So you hear that really pretty neck position? Then I switch, watch. It is a true humbucker sound and a true Strat sound. There's no other guitar on the planet like this, none. And this works, and it's so easy to use. That's single coil. And see, let me just explain really briefly. See these two guys down here? Then we're going to talk about the lesson. Those are the individual pickup selectors for each configuration. Individual pickup selector for the Strat sound, single coils, individual pickup selector for the humbuckers. Now here's what we did. On the Strat, it's a 5-position switch. It's exactly like a Strat. Then on the humbucker side, it's a 3-position, exactly like a humbucker. So, and then the coolest thing about this is all the different combinations in between. See, here's what it is. Now listen. Listen, Joey, I'm going to talk turkey here. Now, I don't even like turkey, neither does Michael, but hey, we're going to talk. Now, here's what's cool. I get to do my thing. I get to love yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. But Robert's got a job to do. Now, what Robert's job is to make sure... Can you say a few words, Robert? He never talks. He is silent, deadly. It is like the bomb that goes off, but you never know history before you even know what happens. So anyway, the point is this. The pickup configurations are controlled very simply. Single coil, both humbuckers. So that, and you can literally set it. So if you flip up and down, you've got neck and bridge position, just like you would normally do like on a stock guitar. But the difference is you could have a single coil in the bridge or a single coil in the Strat and reverse it. So you could do two configurations just by flipping this. But if you just leave this up like this, then you have the 5 pickup selector. Now I'm on the single coil sound, listen. It's a beautiful neck position sound. This is an album quality guitar in both configurations. Now watch. Now I use the bridge position. You hear how like that's slinking? You know, you get that very Strat sound. It's really slinky sounding. And then when you click it to the humbucker side, death. Now here's the neck position on the humbucker. It's just awesome. Now, I'm going to play a little bit on the clean sound. And remember, we have a flash sale. This guitar is not trying to answer all the questions that no one ever asks. This guitar is something that I've always liked single coil sounds. I always have my entire career, but I found that I gravitated more towards humbuckers. And the success, you know, my success as an artist has always been with guitars with humbucker pickups. So I said to myself, it's a thing when you've had a long career like mine, and it's been, I'll just knock on wood, say it like it is. I've been really successful. It's still doing fantastic. And I don't take it for granted. I never do. I never take you for granted. I'm here generally, and I want to help. And I'm going to talk about specific things on this hand injury thing. But I wanted to talk about this guitar first so we get this, so you understand what I'm doing. These guitars are not like gimmicks. This is a true single coil sounding guitar, and it's a true humbucker. You have a real Strat here. Now here's what we were able to do too. Normally Strats have only 21 frets. We added 22. It's the most we could put in to accommodate the single coil, and what our concern was to make the single coil sound, the Strat sound, authentic. We did it. And then the humbuckers are close enough to the neck and close enough to the bridge to get that sound. And then the only thing that you're going to need, because single coils are inherently softer, we didn't want to change that. We wanted to make two separate guitars that you use a compressor when you use a clean sound. See, overdrive is a natural compression. Watch. I'm going to switch between configurations. Whoops, I set it up for the clean sound. So here we go. Well, watch, I'm going to switch between configurations. Here's the Strat. Hear how those notes go wang? That's that single coil. You just can't get that with the humbucker. It's not there. And it's a 5-position switch. So actually one of my songs goes. You can't get that with a humbucker sound. It just doesn't exist. This is that out-of-phase Strat sound because you have the 5-position switch. Now here's that middle pickup, that middle position. It's like... maybe like a... And then we have have the other out of phase. That. I play that a lot because I like Skinner. I just love it. And then obviously it's the last position would be the bridge. And then you get the humbucker. You see how much rounder and fuller this is? Like, or like, sound, and it's real. It's really two sounds. It's not like, I said this last week, coil taps. Oh, wow, do you like, we got like humbucker, pricker, bro, like, we got a humbucker, we like pull that thing up, coink. It's like, wait, we pop it up, and what does it sound like? Dog doo-doo. It sucks. I've never heard a coil tap that I've liked, ever in my life. No. See? Even Joey's coil taps suck. They suck, they suck, they suck, they suck. Robert, do you agree? Wow, he's communicating today. Thank you, Robert. So, they suck. They, you know, if you want a simulation, I said this, do you want Steve Vai, a simulation, or do you want Steve Vai? And so, a coil tap is a simulation of a single coil because it does make it a single coil, but it sounds like doo-doo. And so what you want to do is have the real deal. For the first time ever on a guitar, you got the real deal. Okay, now, I'm going to switch back to distortioner. So I'm using two different amps. You can see I've got the Sawtooth 20-watt overdriven amp, the 20-watt tube, which is getting that death distortion. And then I'm using a Sawtooth 25-watt amp that's got the deadly reverb. And they're just really, they're tiny. You know, not this one, but I mean, that's not, but this 25-watt is 25 watts of death. I love this amp. Anyway, I'm back to the overdrive. I'm on single coil mania. See, I love this because you just get this. So if you want that Ingve Stratty sound, it is right here because this is the real deal. This is a real single coil guitar. The pickup spacing is like it should, and we added an extra fret. Why? Because more is not less, more is more. That's why. Then we have to do a chorus. I had to do that. You know, it's funny. You know, my student was Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, and I see him all the time, like in videos. He's like, and I feel really cool that, you know, I've tried to be innovative my entire career, and I have been. You know, I'm an innovator, not an emulator, and I would be the worst guy in a tribute band because I can never, ever. I don't even want to play like the artist that I would be covering. It's just not, it's not in my soul to copy. And that doesn't mean I'm better or cooler than any of you. It's just, it's not that. I'm the guy that invents this stuff. I'm the guy that invents the string dampeners. I'm the one who in conjunction with Sawtooth, comes up with a brand new idea on a guitar. And the cool thing about this is a top of the line German-made Floyd. So, I mean, this is literally, I mean, we're talking killer. It doesn't get any better. You could put would be the Floyd on a $20,000 or $30,000 guitar. It's the best there is. You know how perfectly in tune that is? Because it's a bad boy Floyd. These are top of the line guitars, and they are a price that you can afford. And that's the thing about Sawtooth that I love. A lot of guitar players go to companies because they want to be endorsed. Like, dude, I want free stuff, man. I paid my dues, bro. I've been sitting in my basement making songs for 25 years. I paid my dues. I want free stuff. He wants free stuff. Do you understand that they want free stuff? Robert just looks at me in disbelief going, really? See, the way it works with a company is you've got to ask yourself, why would they endorse you? What do you have that's unique for a company to endorse you? Why are they going to put their brand behind you? It's actually the opposite way of most musicians, the way they think of this thought process. And so this is something I've understood for a very long time, and I've just enjoyed being innovative in creating guitars. I've enjoyed helping guitars. And the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to start this lesson. Sawtooth doesn't release their 2021 guitars, which this is, and say, here's what happens every year at the big music show, which would be right around this time. That got canceled. Our new 2021 line, it's amazing, it's fantastic, we love it, you love it, yes, yes, yes. When can I buy one of these new guitars? In August! What? So what they do is, most of the music companies, they'll put out that's the brand new stuff, yes, yes, we have it, and everybody's hyped, like I'm hyped. But then you go, well, when can I get one? Let's see. You can't even get it till the middle of the year. Not that way with Sawtooth. We are a little bit smarter. In fact, I'm going to brag. We are a lot smarter than a lot of other companies. We have these guitars in stock. This is 2021. You can order it right now, and you can get it. Period. Bottom line, end of story. We have the guitars. And then people say, well, dude, man, I'd buy a Sawtooth guitar, bro, if they came in left-handed guitars. Okay, virtually every model, I'm not saying every model, but most of them come left-handed, and they're in stock too. Okay, now, I want to talk a little about something that's very important to me. How am I able to do that? Touring for 30 years, playing in 58 countries. I actually played in Spain in the late 90s. And I toured for 5 days in a row. That's just Spain. I mean, it was a big tour with no sleep. And I knew that I'd probably never do this again. Why? First of all, in Spain, the dinners are very late. I mean, they could start at 10 at night and go to 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. And then I had to take, which we did, and then I had to get up at about 6 a.m. and take a plane to the next city. And we did this 5 days straight. I had a total of maybe 10 hours of sleep in 5 days total. I was hardly sleeping at all. Now, what happens when you're tired? You get lazy, mentally lazy, you make mistakes, things start to happen. So instead of this, you're like, whoa, dude, I'm tired, bro. And so all of a sudden, no boundaries seems a little faster than normally. just listen to that humbucker sound. It's amazing. And so here's the point. Here's where hand injuries occur. Now, I've got some specifics I want to talk about. Some people mention this about carpal tunnel, that they had surgery. This is where Metal Method comes in. You see this on Facebook, you see it on Instagram, you see it all over the internet. You see these people say, learn how to play fast, and this is the way to do it, and all those other ways, oh, that's not the way, this is my way. Well, the first thing that I ask myself when I hear something like this is, who is this person that's actually saying this? 99.9999% of the time. And look, there's nothing wrong with a teacher. I think teaching is the most noble thing a person can ever do, to impart their knowledge to help people today and the next generations to be able to learn. My dad had a great saying, don't reinvent the wheel, son. And see if you distort the past or you don't teach what really happened in the past, and you make up your own little thing because you think today is the way it's cool. What about if you were judged today in the year 2021? What if it's the year 2131? And they said, can you believe these morons of the early 21st century, how they tried to change the past like the idiots that came thousands of years before them? See, anytime somebody wants to change something, they'll blow up the past. So here's what happens. You have to relearn the wheel. Well, let me tell you something that I learned in piano. The Hannon book, Speed Kills, metalmethod.com, is the shred Bible. And this is why I've never had a hand injury. And then I'm going to go in depth about this carpal tunnel thing. When you go doom, 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 that's exercise 1 in Hannon. Just one, like, I'll give you the notes of the scale, like 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, 3, 4, 3, like doom, 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 down, like E, like C, E, F, G, A, G, F, E. So when you hear this, it's so simple. This is one of the main reasons why young people get hand injuries and old people. Do you know how many young great players are right now? We are in probably a renaissance of guitar. The young people that I see are doing things on guitars that I've never heard in my life. It is really incredible. But like when I came up, because we were doing incredible things too, there was a renaissance in the 70s and 80s that changed guitar. The Alan Holdsworths, the Al Di Meolas, the Yngwies, the Mikeys. We changed guitar. We brought it up a notch, and that's what's happening now. A lot of people from my generation have had hand injuries. I see a lot of young people now having hand injuries. Why is this? It's because they don't follow the rule of the master. See, Speed Kills was derived by understanding. I'm a pianist. I'm a piano player. I have a degree in music. Now, I've said it 1,000 times. It does not make me better, stronger, or cooler, or anything. You know what it does? I studied. I understand what happened in the past. When you get the Hannon book for piano, it is purely for technique. And you have these internet pundits, and I've said, dude, like David Gilmour plays more revealing in one note, bro. Really? Yes! It's like... Great! I'm not gonna hire David Gilmour to play my song Time Traveler. It ain't gonna happen. I'm like... I'm not going to hire him. I love him. But I'm going to hire, if I'm going to do Time Traveler, I need the best players with the most technical, the best technical facility. That doesn't mean that David Gilmour's not amazing. He's an amazing artist. We are talking purely technique. Do you want to stop hand injuries? Do you want to help yourself? then don't think like playing Pink Floyd and David Gilmour. That's the goal, to play great music. But the goal, as far as your technical facility, is to play correctly and not hurt yourself. I have seen virtually everybody I know that's a professional that has toured a lot, and a lot of younger players have had hand injuries because they don't do what I do. I studied guitar I gave you a methodology on guitar that has worked for centuries on piano. And so, like Schumann, it was either Schumann or Schubert, he developed these little pulleys for your fingers to try and get more dexterity. He ruined his playing. Or it's like that device where you press down like a keyboard, like you press down there to practice. I highly not recommend that stuff. You know, it's like if you want to play football or soccer, you kick the frickin' ball. You don't use a different ball. Do you use a basketball to play soccer? Do I use a baseball to play basketball? You don't do simulations of stuff. You do the real deal. The Hanon was short exercises on piano designed for one thing, technique. That's it. Speed Kills is designed for one thing, technique. That's it. It's not, your musicality is not my, I don't want to say problem. It is not my concern. Do I care? Yes, of course I care that you want to play musically. My thought process is to help you be the best technician you could be, to be able to play the best music. So here's what happens with a lot of guitar players. Now, as I've gotten older, there's something that I do that a lot of people, I keep my arm really close to my body. Now, why is that? Because when I play, it's more ergonomic, and I sit like a classical guitar player. I'm sitting like this. I always do. Now, I've said this before, why? When you stand up, do you see that? When you sit down and practice and stand up, it's the same. If you practice like this and you stand up, you have to do that. So that's first and foremost. But what I said on Speed Kills, get Speed Kills, okay? I can't say this enough. It works. I am living proof. I can play like a demon possessed still. I've been touring my whole life. I'm not young anymore. I love music so much, but I'm genuinely here to help you. And if you listen and understand the simplicity of it. See, it's hard to describe the wheel. How the heck do you describe, if somebody's never seen a wheel? Well, it's a thing, you know? It's like, I don't know, it's round. Well, it's round. Well, you know, it's like this. Is that round? Yeah, it's kind of like this. This is what happens if you blow up the past. You know, it's like, what's a wheel? Oh, no, bro. Never heard of a wheel before. What is it, man? It's like, well, it's round. Well, what's round, dude? Never heard of round before. You know, it's like that movie. Have you ever, there's a movie, it's like set in the future, and people are so stupid that somebody from the past gets either de-thought. I've got to get the name. But anyway, he's like this genius, and he's of average intelligence for the year 2021. But in the future, people have been so dumbed down that they're idiots. And it's really kind of funny, but this is true. If you don't, you have people like me that are here to help. I'm here to help. And so all I can tell you is this. One of the main reasons for hand injuries is that people use exercises that are too advanced for the muscles and tendons in your hand to warm up with. Think in classical piano, that one of the first things I learned was the Hanon. Do 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 do. Then you move to D. Do 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 do. You know, la 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 la. It's simple, but you concentrate purely on the technique, how your hand rests, how your hand looks when it approaches the piano. You work on the small things. You work on short exercises. Now, there's something, and especially I had people ask me, you have older people that have carpal tunnel. Now, I am no doctor, so I'm not professing to be, and I'm not trying to give advice. I have a phrase about advice. Wise men don't need it, and fools won't heed it. So wise people, they don't want to listen, and fools will never listen anyway. But as a teacher, I always felt if I can help you to the best of my ability, not only does it help you, but it's self-serving. It helps me corroborate, reinforce, and understand what works and why my methods are correct. 100 years from now, you'll be able to look at Speed Kills and say, man, MAB was right on. I was right on. Because I studied music that was 100 years before me. I understood what is the best of the best in that time and how their teaching methodology was, and I incorporated that in Speed Kills. When you have carpal tunnel, first of all, what is it? Okay, you get twinges in your elbow. It starts affecting your thumb, like your thumb gets numb. There is a Weider principle. If anybody knows Joe Weider, he was the man that brought Arnold Schwarzenegger to the United States. And they call him like the father of bodybuilding. And he had a thing called the Weider principles. And like, look at me. You know, I mean, people used to laugh like how skinny I was in Speed Kills. I was ripped, man. I mean, I had these skinny arms, but I could make a pretty darn good muscle. I mean, I was cut, but I was just really thin because I don't have the genetics, you know, to be that, but I have the genetics to be lean and mean. And I've been in shape my whole life because I work out and I apply these Weider principles. And one of the main ones, know your own body. When you are playing like this, what if I'm doing this for 10 minutes straight? What if I'm doing this over and over? I just want to keep doing it. So he's like, shut up, Angelo. Let me rip. Well, what if I keep doing this over and over? What if I'm doing this over and over? There's a thing called lactic acid. It starts to get in your hand and it starts to slow you down. And that's nothing wrong with that. That's a normal thing because what happens as you build up endurance, it'll get better. But here's what happens. When you are older, you have to understand how your fingers feel on a guitar. I keep my arm really close now. When I'm doing my double guitar and I'm levitating it, my arms are close to my body to give it support. I need support and I've learned this, see, when you keep your arms extended like this, you're asking for a shoulder injury. And that shoulder, if you injure it up here, your tendons go all the way down. Like, I'm no anatomy expert, but let me tell you what I do know. You have a main tendon running down here. You have one side that it'll literally affect this side of your finger and your pinky. Then another one affects this side. So this finger, your ring finger, actually has a tendon on each side that can get damaged or it can stay normal. You have to be very cognizant of how you play. When I started playing left-handed, I was feeling twinges right here because, see, this was a motion that Robert had never done before. He's always been like this. He's been the world's angriest picker. He's always been like this for my whole life. In fact, look at my fingers. Look at how curved this one is just from holding a guitar pick for my entire life. It's actually shaped to hold a pick. Okay, so when you do, and then you do something radically different. So I go from playing my entire life like this to this. Now look at the mechanism change. Look at how that changes. And so all of a sudden, I got this massive, like, it was like a burn right here. And I said to myself, whoa, that's a tendon issue, because you have muscles, you have bones, you have skin, but your tendons are what gets injured. And there's a reason for this. When you build muscle and you start working out, your muscles grow faster than your tendons can adjust. And that's where people get hurt. And so a lot of times what you have to do is you have to ask yourself, the Weider principle, know your own body. What is my body telling me? What is it telling me? It's hurting here. So it's telling me it doesn't like the motion and the repetitiveness. See, because it's like a pitcher in baseball. This is your rotator cuff here, right? Well, what happens to most pitchers? They blow out their rotator cuffs. What happens to drummers? They blow out their rotator cuff. Now, when you're young, you think you're invincible. But here's the problem when you're young. This is why I'm going to win by attrition. 20 years from now, I'm going to still be ripping on guitar because I understand. I live this. See, I'm not do as I say, not as I. I'm not the guy that tells you to wear a mask and then doesn't wear a mask. And I'm not meaning that in political. I'm just saying there's a bunch of two-faced mofos out there that tell you one thing and they do another. I'm just not like that. I practice what I preach, and I'm living proof. I'm a total top professional that's toured everywhere. You know, I always say, for example, China. I've been to China 15 times. I was the first Western artist ever on the communist Chinese TV. So who would you rather talk to if you want to learn about China? Somebody who's read every book in the world that can tell you all these great things, or somebody that's been to every single region and has been the only person ever to be on communist Chinese that's not communist Chinese? And so now I'm not saying I know it all, but I come from a place of experience, and my experience has served me well. I can't stress this enough. If you get anything out of this workshop today, besides the ES series is amazing and Sawtooth is the best guitar brand on planet Earth, it's this: know your body. No one has your body. If you want to fill it with junk food every day, know the consequences. If you want to fill your car with water and mud, and you think gas is going to run, that's what happens. Now, am I perfect? Heck no. I've never wanted to be a role model I drink a Diet Coke every once in a while like everybody else. You know, I like it. I like Big Mac. But I can tell you this. Practice slow. Get speed kills. Work on those short exercises. Do them slow. Do them fast. Do them with reckless abandon. If you feel anything, anywhere, do a micro adjustment. Try experimenting with your own body. You know, because see, carpal tunnel is a funny thing. Now, another thing that I do too, why do people get massages? Because it puts blood flow in the place. So if you do have carpal tunnel, which I've never had, but it's a twinge in your thumb. So what you can do this. You can see, I truly believe that surgery is the last option. A lot of people get surgery for carpal tunnel. My mother, God bless her, she's been gone a while now. She's passed away. I don't have my sister, my parents, anything. But my mom could type over 100 words a minute. She got carpal tunnel. And my father said, her name was Joanne. He said, Joanne, don't get surgery unless you absolutely have to. She found a chiropractor, and not a guy that okay, come 3 times a week for 8 weeks in a row. He did a few things. He cured her carpal tunnel. Because what happens? It's a constriction here in your bones that your tendons are restricted. I mean, they cut right through your bone, and so they're not working together. They get inflamed, and also so you start feeling it here. And here's the problem with surgery and carpal tunnel. It doesn't cure it. Surgery can fix it, but it also, there's no guarantee that it won't come back. So your knowledge of your own body is the best thing that you can do to circumvent any kind of injuries. And so here's what I do. When I'm practicing, I'll just start like this. But look at the technique. what I do, I'm efficient. See, I don't move a lot. My wrist doesn't move a lot. My arm doesn't move a lot. You have to do this on your own. If I watched a person play, I have a gift for that. I can just see things right away. I can see, but see, here's the problem with young people playing these extreme riffs. They don't do the exercises like on Speed Kills. They jump from point, I call this like in the alphabet. Instead of going A, B, C, D, the way I approach guitar, the way I approach music, the way I approach practice, a lot of people go from A to H to I to J, A to Z. They forget everything in between. And so, yeah, I can play the Lost Arpeggio! But then what happens is after you're playing these extreme riffs for a while, see, young people's tendons are not developed yet, 100%. So you risk a serious injury being young and see, this is the problem with age of any age. When you're young, your muscles aren't 100% developed. So your biceps and triceps and all your other muscles are growing faster than your tendons can keep up. So then you're like blazing speed because you're young. My dad used to say, youth is its own gimmick. But so you do all this crazy stuff, but then your tendons can't keep up. And that's when you get hurt. You have to watch and try to say, and try to make it as easy as you can for your fingers, your hand, and your mind. When you are older, now you're on a different thing. Your muscles and tendons are not growing. I mean, we lose muscle tone every year. Every year that we live, there's a percentage of your body that starts to move in, unfortunately, the other direction. And so what you have to do is you have to be even more careful. When I warm up slow. I do the warm-ups that I talk about in the Speed Kill series. And then when I start to play, I'll play slow for a while. I'll just play like that, just slow. And then when I feel right, all of a sudden it starts to kick in. But here's what I can say. When you do simple exercises that were taught to classical pianists over a century ago that I show in Speed Kills, you work on specific things, and it's the repetition, but it's also, because it's so simple, you play it over and over and over. And when you play it over and over and over, it exposes weaknesses in your playing. It exposes the fact that, man, my arm kind of hurts because it's a repetitive motion. When people play sports, they get repetitive motion injuries. When you play guitar the same way over and over and over, it's a repetitive motion injury. So if you get anything out of this lesson today, know your own body and get Speed Kills. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this ES guitar. It is truly revolutionary. And again, we didn't try to be all things to all people. But this is a recording quality, record quality Strat sound. It's a record quality humbucker sound, and you get a top of the line Floyd Rose. So if I want to play the ethereal, now that's on the humbucker sound. You see that warmth? Now watch. Now Strat sound. Whoops, I didn't have the volume up all the way. Now watch. I'm going to show you without a compressor. Here's with the compressor on. That's Strat sound, humbucker. See the difference? Now here's with it off. You can hear the volume difference. Now why is that? Because it's a true Strat single coil sound. They are not as loud as humbuckers. We wanted to make this, and I wanted to make this a true Strat guitar and a true humbucker guitar. All you need is a little bit of compressor. Watch. Instead of this, now watch. Here's the compressor. It's so simple. But see, we're not trying to be everything to everybody. And I added that 22nd fret. Why? I like frets. And a top of the line Floyd Rose. I mean, I love that song. Clean single coil sound, and then you can just switch. Now here's humbucker. You can hear that humbucker. And listen to that. I've been wanging out. I haven't touched the tuner. You know how perfectly in tune that is? See, here's another thing too that Sawtooth did. We actually have our own fret wire. A lot of people use the Jumbo series. It's the 6100 series, which I used for a long time. It's jumbo frets. It's really cool. We use a medium jumbo so that if you're a traditional guitar player, you've only played Strats or Pauls for your whole life, this is not a big leap of faith. If you're a shredder and you're used to the really thick frets, this is in between. If you're a traditional guitarist, it's in between, and man, it feels so comfortable. And because it's a little thicker than those thin frets, it intonates better and it stays in better shape. Also, the scale length, you know, PRS has its own scale length, and so does Gibson and Fender. Well, Sawtooth, we use our scale length too. And, you know, I never really liked the shred scale length. It's that Fender, it's like a little wider. I have big hands, but our scale length is slightly smaller. And so, and what it does is, even with a big hand like mine, it just feels really comfortable. There are so many innovations that we do, but the biggest thing that we do is the amazing guitars at a price that's just outrageous. You're like, you know, people ask themselves, how can they do it? Well, we're just smarter at manufacturing. That's it. And, you know, because, you know, there's one thing about being an artist. I mean, the CEO is a fantastic drummer. One of the other owners is a young, great vocalist. And, you know, they have major endorsers like Vinny Appice and Rudy Sarzo and myself and all these other, you know, some really great people. So the passion is there, but passion only gets you so far if you have no idea what you're doing in business. And COVID has separated the pros from the prophylactics. Sawtooth is here. We have guitars in stock. If you want to buy this guitar right now, it is in stock and it can ship tomorrow to you. That is the difference. find out how many other companies are promoting 2021 models, and they don't even have them in stock. They just promote it. It's a totally different thought process. And again, I can't stress enough about how much I love the company, but I also can't stress enough how much I want to help you. Speed kills works. The methodology is something that I really use. I am living proof. I have toured everywhere. I've never, ever had a hand injury, an elbow injury, an arm injury, because I put a lot of thought into how I play. I explain about picking. I explain about your fretboard hand technique. I've explained about fretboard hand muting. You get to see this. I mean, we're doing innovative guitars. You know, nobody's ever done a guitar like this. You know, people say, oh yeah, well, Steve Morse has extra pickups. Yes, he does, and I love Steve Morse, but it's not a true Strat or a true humbucker guitar in one. We're not trying to be everything for everybody, but the combinations of pickups that you can use on this is unbelievable. No amount of effects processing, no amount of outboard gear or software can make a humbucker sound like a single coil, or make a single coil sound like a humbucker. You have a record quality guitar. That's two guitars in one. Anyway, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. I'm Angelo Batio. Check out Sawtooth, the guitars. We're doing a flash sale, 25% off. And also check out my Metal Method programs. They just work. One last thing. I'm doing a major shred collab that's coming out this weekend. Joel Hoekstra is on it, Bill Hudson. There's literally, I think, 35 guitars. There's a young 19-year-old female guitarist named Kate Devon. And I'll tell you what, she lacks in experience. She makes up for it and just guts. She just does it. She's not afraid to cold email or cold text anybody. And she's really put this together, and it's for a great cause. And so go to Kate Devon. That's C-A-I-T, Kate Devon, D-E-V-I-N, on Facebook, on Instagram, and check out the Shred Collab. It's really fantastic, and all the information's there. It's for a great cause. All the money that gets raised goes to a really fantastic charity. But again, you know, we do things to help, and you know, I'm a firm believer that if I do good work for you, it always comes back to me, and I'm living proof of it. My studio's living proof of it. You know, what I have is living proof of it. But I'm not in this. Money has never been the motivator for me. Yeah, we all need money. I mean, that'd be naive to say, no, we don't need money. I'll tell you what my motivation is. My dad used to say, son, it doesn't matter if you're the most famous person or the richest person. Be happy. I'm happy. That's it. I'm Angelo Batio. See ya.